Hey everyone, it's Julian, and today we are back for some more Set 3 reveals for Shadowverse Omens of the Random. We have a good amount of cards to talk about today. We have one legendary, but before we get into it, I just want to say there will be a card that's coming out in probably maybe an hour, but I have to make this video a little bit earlier than I normally do. I tried to wait as long as possible, but I have a One Piece tournament in the morning in basically 5 hours. So I'm going to make this video. That card we will cover on tomorrow's video. So just, before people go in the comments saying, you missed a card. I didn't miss a card. Well, I did technically miss a card, but we're going to talk about it tomorrow, but I just can't stay up super late. Because there is a Shadowverse online tournament happening in Japan, and that's where they're going to show off this other card. But we have a lot of really interesting cards to talk about today, so let's get into it. So, first card is Rage of the Azour Flame, and this is basically the New Age Disdainful Rending. Obviously, I've mentioned Disdainful Rending a couple times. It is, in my opinion, one of the strongest cards of all time in Shadowverse history. Era adjusted, and by that I mean for its time, right? Because if you compare it to other removal cards back in the future of Shadowverse 1, yeah, not that good. But back then it was really good. And what Disdainful Rending did was it was a 1 mana, deal 1 damage to one of your own followers, and 3 damage to one of your opponent's followers. And back then, that was a lot of damage for the early game like that, and you had a lot of effects like Servant of Disdain that let you draw cards or do other effects when you got hit by an effect, right? So this is the New Age version, and because it's a New Age version, it has to say random. So select an allied follower, deal 1 damage to it, deal 3 damage to a random enemy follower, and then if Overflow is active for you, draw a Dragoncraft follower. I'm not going to go into the random rant. If you want to see me talk about the random stuff, see yesterday's video and the video before that, but there's just no reason for me to constantly keep talking about it. It's a very, very frustrating card design. But overall, how is this card? I think this card is obviously very good. It's just really good, but it's frustrating because it's like, if you miss, it's so bad, and it's a best of 1 game, and yada, 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 whatever. But it is a good card. It's obviously a very good card. It's a better version of the old card if you are a good player, meaning lucky, right? If you always hit, this is a better version of Disdainful Rending. The fact that it draws you for 1 basically late game is really strong. You could probably craft some sort of deck where you want to only be playing a couple dragon cards that are really impactful, and then you can play a lot of good neutral cards if you want to go that route, but you probably are just like, hey, this is going to draw me a card, right? So, Rage of the Azour Flame, I'm sure this is going to be translated to something like Disdainful Rending or reference that card, right? So, pretty good card, I think, for Dragon. It'll be interesting to see how it all comes together for Dragon, though, because like I've said before, Gamyu and the Disdain archetype is made up in its support. So if it doesn't get a Servant of Disdain, a Disciple of Disdain-esque cards, or even a Serpent Drake type card, we're going to be maybe in for a rough ride, especially because the Gamyu main body, or the main card, the legendary, is not that good, in my opinion. So this is a great addition to this new archetype, but we will have to see how that plays out. Next, we have a legendary, Raio for Rune. So this is the 2nd Rune legendary, and everyone can take a big exhale out because this guy's garbage. This guy's terrible, and I'm sure everyone was hoping that Rune would be getting really bad cards. So what does Raio do? He's a 9 mana, 9/9 legendary Rune. On play, he's going to subtract 3 from the cost of all followers in your deck, and then he's going to transform a random spell in your hand into Ursat's Elimination, and give it until the end of this turn. Set the cost of this card to 0. So let's talk about Ursat's Elimination real quick. It is a 4-cost legendary spell that adds 1 to the cost of all followers in your hand, and then it's going to destroy all enemy followers. So obviously when you play Raio, you're going to get this for 0, and you can kind of play this for free on the same turn because it becomes 0 until the end of your turn. So you do kind of get the downside of all the cards in your hand go up by 1 cost, right? So this card is just really bad because we have D-Shift Cocytus. Another interesting thing about this is because it's random, you can hit your, like, 0-cost D-Shift, and that feels terrible. And you can't even necessarily play this in some sort of pure Earthright deck because you have to have a spell in hand for this to be played. I'm really, really confused as to why they wanted you to transform a spell into your hand instead of just gaining this token. I have to imagine it's to nerf D-Shift, right? It's just like, oh, you can't play this card with D-Shift because you have a random chance to lose the game if you hit your 0-cost D-Shift, right? And obviously Raio into D-Shift would be very strong. Is it stronger than Cocytus into D-Shift? No. And I think that's the issue. They probably did not realize how good Cocytus D-Shift was going to end up being when they thought this card up probably, months and months ago. And it's just a really bad card. It's just not really playable. Initially, I did think, like, hey, maybe as a win condition for Earthright, and it's kind of like a bad, this is crazy. No, it's not worse than Fenny, but it's a very on par with Fenny. But the issue is you need a spell in your hand, because you need to be able to clear the board when you play this, right? So, again, if Cocytus didn't exist, or even, like, Kuan, if Kuan and Cocytus didn't exist, I think this card would be really good in that sort of D-Shift, our hybrid deck that we're playing right now. It'd be a very good win condition. You just go, here's my 9-mana 9/9, clear the board, and then D-Shift, and you draw into a bunch of gas, right? But that's just not how it really works. I think he's supposed to combine with the other Rune Legendary, that's the 2-mana 1/1 draw card, so that after this she becomes a 0-mana 1/1 draw card that draws you further into your cards that are -3 cost, right? But it's also only to followers, so you just need this really bizarre build where you need some spells, but not a ton of spells, because you want your followers to become less or -3, but you need a spell to get this token. So, I don't know. I think this card is awful, but it's probably a good thing. I don't think Rune needed a third set of support. Will it probably still be pretty good? It probably will be, especially because a lot of the new archetypes are going very control-y, and Rune is the ultimate control deck, right? So, Raio, as usual, pretty bad. Then we have a Haven Gold Unifier of Repose. 5-mana 2/4 gold Haven. So we've seen a lot of Haven cards, and they've all been pretty terrible. And we're looking for just some sort of connector, string all this stuff together. Is this the card? Maybe. So 5-drop 2/4 gold. On play, you're going to destroy an enemy follower. Already, okay, I kind of like that, right? That's kind of cooking. On evolve, you're going to gain the crest of Unifier of Repose. The crest is countdown 4, and then at the end of your turn, if allied followers didn't attack this turn, draw a random follower with 4 defense. This is a really interesting card, and I think that it's good for this archetype that is just not going to work. This archetype will I just don't know. You cannot pass turns like that over and over and over and over, right? Obviously, you're going to be able to draw into your key pieces, right? Your Marwins and your Himika, is that her name? The new Omen of Repose, right? The 6-drop 0/4. But the payoff for all of this is just not good. We've already seen both legendaries, and there's just no way to really win games with that strategy right now. Now, we could get some other gold or bronze or something that helps us, put all the pieces together and sort of is some sort of, Storm, gain +2/+2 for the amount of turns that you've passed without attacking, or something, right? But overall, this is just a weird control deck that's very gimmicky in the era where any control deck just hard loses to Rune because they have Kakai's D-Shift. So I don't know. When I first read this card, it might have been a mistranslation or something. I thought that she summoned the card onto the field. So I was like, okay, that's kind of interesting where if you get the Himika, and obviously we know that her crest, you have to have her on the field. So, I was thinking like, okay, you play this, get the crest, pass, next turn, or, that turn you get something, right? Next turn you go Himika, pass, and then you go get another Himika or something, and then you go next turn pass, get another Himika, and you can board lock that way. But no, you just draw the card. So I don't want to say this card's bad, but I think it's just in a really bad archetype. And maybe this card is just good enough, like in a just hard control deck that has nothing to do with this whole pass turn and don't attack, where you just go, okay, pop something, evolve, pass, draw thing, and then for the next 4 turns or 3 turns, if you ever just go like Holy Grail pass, you draw another card. That's something to think about, is sort of this card outside of this Repose archetype, but I don't know. We're going to need a Realm of Repose-esque type card for this archetype to work. So Unifier Repose, a really good card in a really bad archetype is what I'd say. Next, we have Unifier of Entwining. So it seems like all of the classes will be getting these gold Unifier cards, which is pretty interesting. This card I'm really excited about. I've really loved all of the mode choose cards that we've seen so far, and it's probably the archetype I'm most excited for going in. And I think this is the card that really cements this as we are going pretty much full control. So this is the 5-drop 4/4 gold Abyss follower. On play, you're going to select a mode to activate. The first mode is summon a Unifier of Entwining, and then both this and the other follower get Rush. So you're going to summon 2 4/4s with Rush. That's really nice in that mid game, right? And you're probably still playing Gravy, but Gravy has his issues too, where he's unevoable in most decks. Second mode is summon a Unifier of Entwining. Both this and that follower gain Ward. And then the third one is give all allied Unifier of Entwinings on the field +2/+2. So when you first play this on your turn 5, you're probably going to be wanting to get the rushes. You get 2 4/4s, maybe you evo one into a 6/6 to clear some Zirconia boards or something a little bit out. And then later on, you're going to be able to get both effects of these once you get Shamnacha Yamcha's ability off, right? So the best thing is probably getting 2 rushes and 2 wards, or maybe even getting 2 rushes that are 6/6s. Getting 2 wards that are 6/6s is probably not going to be used a lot. But the other thing about this card is on Super Evolve, you can replicate the fanfare of this card. So because it's just on Super Evolve, I think this is going to be a little niche. There's a lot of cards you really want to Super Evo in Abyss, right? And it's just a nice thing to have, though. In the late game, this deck seems to be very late game focused, where once we get Yamcha's ability up, we're going to be able to just get so much value from all these cards. And this is a perfect example, right? We're just going, slam this down, get probably most of the time 3 bodies after the ability, right? And clear some board, get some wards. And then if you Super Evolve, you're going to be able to get even more value from 1 card. And that really helps with the card draw issue. But we also got the card draw issue solved with the 2 previous cards, the Gold Spell and the Silver Amulet. So I'm really excited about this archetype, and it really reminds me of old Blood Control, right? Like back in the day. And yeah, I'm really excited about this card. I think this is going to be a major player for this deck. Then we have our last card, and again, it's not our last card tonight because we're going to get one here soon, but I got to go to bed, guys, right? So, Unifier of Destruction, 6 play point 3/3 portal card. On play, destroy X random enemy followers. X is equal to the number of other allied cards on the field. Then destroy all other allied cards on the field. I actually really, really like this guy. I think this is a really interesting card in immediate thinking is in puppets, right? Where you can kind of stockpile a bunch of puppets, play out some puppets, play this card, blow your puppets up, and blow their board up, right? But then with our new Lashena stuff, what you want to be doing is you have those testaments on the field, right? That whenever they die, you're getting value from them anyway, right? So you don't really care about them dying. So you can go play this, and if you just have that on the field, you're going to be popping one thing. That is, like, not good enough for this card, right? But you're still going to be getting the value from that. So in theory, if you can get, like, 2 Lashena's Evos off before you play this guy, then you can start getting a lot of value, clearing some boards, Evoing, and if you combine that with some of the Puppet Engine, I think we could be cooking up some, like, nice control deck that slowly whittles the opponent down and then makes you only need to have maybe 1 Orcus for the late game to win, right? We still have Orcus, who's an insane card, and I really like this card in that archetype. I really hope we see more cards like back in the day, we had the Inspired Inventor. She is Elena now in this game. And she's more artifact focused, but back in the day, not Elena, Elise, that's her name. And she gave you a amulet that couldn't be destroyed by effects. So you could just use a lot of those destroy effects on your amulet and get value because your thing wouldn't blow up, right? So some more stuff like that would be really cool if we could set up a board of things that couldn't really be interacted with, and then we play this and, like, clear the board and nothing really happens to our board. Would be really nice. Obviously, Lashena already has the can't be destroyed by effects, so there's that. Again, I'm really hoping we see a Demon Eater like Portal got back in the day. I believe he was the Disciple of Destruction. Maybe he was the Servant of Destruction, but he was the 2-drop 1/2, destroy one of your cards, draw 2 cards. If we get something like that, I think we're really cooking with this archetype. And of course, Lashena is just one of my more excited archetypes so far to see. So yeah, those are the cards for today. I'm really interested to see what the card that will be revealed here soon will be. I'm expecting it's going to be a legendary because it's from a official tournament source, right? Maybe we get Gildenlease there. Actually, now that I think about it more, I think we're going to get Gildenlease there. I think that's a good guess. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Make sure you guys stay tuned for more reveals. We're doing this every day. I'm staying up pretty late for these, right? But I do have to go to bed, so I'm sorry I couldn't cover all of them. But we will cover the next one, or we cover the one that comes out later tonight, tomorrow. So make sure to check that out, and let me know what cards you guys are excited for from this little batch we got. And I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.